Sainsbury's, Asda, Lidl, Tesco, and Marks and Spencer issued warning that they would be unable to stockpile certain food like meat, dairy, and fresh fruit and vegetables, stressing how much they rely on the produce from the EU. Currently, 30% of all consumed food in the UK is supplied by European countries. The fruit and vegetables have the largest trade deficit of nearly £10 billion. In response, many people have begun to stockpile their food as well. They mainly go for frozen and canned food. Rachel Clarkson, a registered dietitian within London, says that we could survive on the long shelf life food for a few days, but the variety is limited and our health could suffer in the long term.
The secret to any balanced diet is variety, so choosing different fruit and vegetables, whole grains, and protein sources. The problem is when food is canned, things are added to enhance the flavour. So, an example of that will be salt, sugar, and fat. And we all know that we shouldn't be adding these things to our diets in large quantities.
Another problem is with storing food at home properly. A.J. Rawson have written a book called Preparing for Brexit: How to Survive the Food Shortages. He advises people on things like how and where to store supplies, how to prep on a budget, and other food sources to add to your supplies. Clarkson says that another issue could be storing of already opened canned food.
I think when we're opening a can, if we're not going to use the whole can, very important to decant it into food storage. If the food was to make a noise when opening the can, maybe that would be a indication that the food may have spoiled.
Analysts have said that in 2018 it took only a few days of snow that heavily disrupted flow of supplies, and gaps on shelves have opened up in the British supermarkets. It is assumed that any problem with supply is likely to result in fruit, vegetable, dairy products and meat price increase.
Looking back at Brexit and especially our poll results about canned food, we actually have Jessica Friend from Canned Food UK organisation with us on the phone to talk about the benefits of canned food. Hi, Jessica.
Hello, nice to speak to you.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you very much. You two of you?
We're good. A little stressed today, but we're rolling. So why do we need organisations such as yours?
Well, Canned Food UK, our role really is to celebrate and promote the benefits of tinned food. And we predominantly do this through our website and through a vast collection of recipes that we have. In fact, we actually have a selection of recipes which we've designed for students, and they go a bit more. They're a bit more interesting than the usual sort of beans on toast. So it's about thinking about using canned foods in a more versatile ways.
Right, but a lot of people think that canned food isn't as nutritious as fresh food. Is this true?
No, that's a complete myth. So the thing with canned food to understand is, first of all, how it's made. So produce is taken straight from the field and taken to the canning factory, where it's prepared and put straight in the can. It's then sealed, and then the food is then cooked in the can. And because the food is cooked in the can, it means that nutrients is completely locked in. Mm-hmm. And the good thing about canned food is that it has a long shelf life, and the nutrient stays the same throughout the whole time because that nutrient is locked in the tin.
Right. So why is canned food amongst the cheapest products to buy then, if it's easier to get on the shelves of supermarkets and nutritious?
Well, that's it kind of comes down to sort of two main things, really. One of them is the economies of scale. So the fact is that there are sort of very large factories that produce sort of canned food. I mean, Heinz is one of the biggest factories in Europe, so that's one of the reasons. And the second thing is that actually the manufacturing costs for canned foods are actually quite low. So, for example, there are no refrigeration costs needed in either the manufacturing or the transport processes for canned food. If you think about, and canned foods can be stacked very easily and in lorries, which means that there's sort of no sort of dead space when you're sort of transporting, which helps keep costs lower. The other thing is that the quantity in which you buy canned food. So a tin of canned peas, for example, tends to be smaller in weight or lower in weight than, say, a bag of frozen peas. So again, that helps keep the cost low.
And does this also mean that getting canned food is better for the environment? You're saying that it cuts a lot of the transportation costs. Does it also cut lorries on the roads?
Well, I have to say I can't answer that specifically, but I do know that obviously cans as a type of packaging material are really good for the environment. I mean, metal packaging has the highest recycling rate across Europe. And the thing about metal is that it can be recycled over and over again with no loss of quality.
Yeah.
So unlike, say, paper and plastic, which can only be recycled up to a certain number of times before they either have to go to landfill or be used for energy for waste.
And talking about the metal, a lot of people are worried that the metal is affecting the quality of the food in the cans. Is this true?
No. Again, that's another complete myth. So with cans, every can has a coating. Sometimes it's like a lacquer coating, or sometimes it's what we call like a polymer coating, and that it forms a barrier between the metal and the contents inside. So the two never mix.
Right. So essentially, canned food might be the future.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good, especially for students. I mean, they're really convenient. Often the food is like pre-prepared. I mean, let's face it, who's got time to peel vegetables?
True.
You can keep them in your shelf up to 3 years, as I said before, and you know that they're there when you need them. And one of the other things I would just like to mention quickly is I mentioned about those recipes that we have for students.
Mm-hmm.
We do actually have a canned food recipe booklet. And if people would like to order a copy, they can do that on our website. It's got a few sort of different recipes in it, some things are maybe a bit more versatile. So,
Yeah, sure.
A Tex-Mex pasta bake is one of my favourites. So, yeah,
Sounds really good. Jessica, so what percentage of our diet do you think should be made up of canned food? Because you're saying all these great things about it. Should we just abandon fresh food completely?
Well, obviously, one of the things that you have to say is that we should be eating canned foods as part of a balanced diet. I mean, I think it is possible to survive just on canned foods, and as versatile as they are, you might sometimes find that that may be a little bit sort of limiting. So part of a balanced diet.
Mm-hmm. Has there been any evidence of people stockpiling canned food in preparations for Brexit?
There have been media reports sort of talking about it, but I haven't got any hard and fast facts on that.
That's fine. Jessica, well, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem. And if I might just mention the website, which is cannedfood.co.uk. So if you're looking for any evening recipe inspiration, I'd definitely check it out.
Great. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
No problem. Thank you. Bye-bye.